Hi, this is Bob Parsons, and before you here is a facsimile of what you have received from me, and it's a gray script, and you can see I'm outlining it with a black pen. And now the strokes I'm using are like a backhand stroke, and I like to do as many of the same movements at once as I can. So you can see I'm moving the paper so I can maintain the rhythm in my hand. I don't have to keep making a bunch of dissimilar moves. So as many of these slightly curved strokes as I can make using a backhand stroke, I'll go through and make all of those at once. This backhand stroke is normally used with just the normal pivoting of the way the wrist moves at the wrist joint. No moving parts in the hand at all. It's a very secure stroke, and you can make relatively long lines with complete control. So I'll go through the whole drawing, as you can see, turning this around. Do as many of these as I possibly can. I'm careful right there. You can see I stopped. It's once your hand feels a little tight, just back off of it. No need to push it into an area where you don't have control. You just stop, and you can pick it up later. There was a little curve right there, and you can see that I got that curve in one stroke. Right here's another one coming up. If your hand is comfortable, try to get those on the curve. It's a little bit difficult to start and stop at the apex of a curve. Now that stroke ended up with me drawing the pen towards the center of my chest. That's a good litmus test for you. If you're pulling the pen towards the center of your body, you're probably in pretty good shape. It's a lot of young people like to try to push their pen upwards, and that is the big no-no. You want to either draw the pen towards the center of your body or use your hand in a kind of a backhand motion, like you would if you were going to flick something off your lap or something. That's that backhand wrist move. Okay, it went off screen for a little bit here, but you've pretty much seen the totality of my hand movements so far. So we got the word outlined, and now we want to develop a theme for our shadow. So I move the paper to work with my hand here. I do all these strokes coming off the edges of the outlining. Doesn't matter how long those pencil lines are, but I try to keep the rhythm of my hand the same so that all the lines are parallel to each other. And we'll decide how deep this shadow is going to be in a minute. So right now, it doesn't matter how long those lines are. You kind of want to err on the lines being longer than shorter. So there's my theme. That's how thick I want that to be, right there. So I'm going to maintain that thickness. Let's see, there's another line I need to make, and that intersection will tell me how thick that is. Sorry about some of this going off the screen, but I think you get the idea. So I go through this and establish my shadow depth. and I'm going to outline that. This is much easier now than the letter, but you still want to maintain a parallel idea here. Even though if the lines aren't straight, you want to curve when your letter curves, and be straight when your letter is straight. We're going to come up to a curve here in a minute, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I have those penciled in. So there's a slight curve to the back side of that U, and so you want to have your shadow curve with it. Otherwise, I guess the word would be congruent. You don't. If the letter curves, and your shadow should curve. So I want control on that curve. So I'm stopping and then adding that curve when my hand's in control. It's a little backhand move, and then there it goes. That border around the script was basically for me to be able to tell where the video was viewpoint was. It's not going to be on your script that you receive from me. There we go. I think we have it all outlined here. So after that, you can fill it in with black. You can fill it in with any color you want. I'm going to use a dark gray so that if I go over the black line, you'll still be able to see it. But any dark color would work fine here. And you can use color. You can do anything you want at this point. The gray letter, the letter is that you'll receive, or maybe you've already received it, is such a light gray that you can go over that with color, and it shouldn't hinder your color at all. Might gray it down just a little bit, but not much. Plus the gray that you have will be printed out by a inkjet printer, and it'll be uniform. This gray that I'm working on here to show you how I outline this and use my hand to outline these letters. This was done with a marker, a chiseled marker. I really just knocked this out just for the purposes of giving you an idea how I go about doing this. I really like these markers with the brush tips. These are Copic markers. They cost about $7 a piece. They have a style with a chiseled nib, and then the other end of the brush is, or the other end of the marker is a brush tip. So there you go. We're just about done, and this is all there is to it. I think the main thing is don't be afraid to turn that paper around so you keep your hand in a stable position. I would say about 75% of my students' problems come from trying to force their hand in to do something where they're not in control of it. Doesn't have anything to do with your ideas or your skill level. It's you're trying to do something with your hand that it really isn't made to do. Well, there you have it. I hope you have fun doing this. Good luck.